And we're back. It's your boy, Eduardo Jackson, CEO, founder, creator, oh, it's a little loud, of the great CinemaDraft game. And it's time to welcome back St. Louis's finest, DFS enthusiast himself, Nick Ringballs. Ringwald. Let's clap it up for him. What's going on, Ringballs?
How's it going? Just living life, getting used to going back to work.
Yeah, I hear you. And going in office, I guess you're an essential worker to us degenerates out there. You know, thank you for your service.
Yeah, at the Illinois legalized sports betting this year, so we finally have sports books up and running down here. That's right.
All right, let it rip and roll. Our Andy Cohen-inspired Watch What Happens Live style drinking game tonight shall be the word middle. Because every time you hear one of us say that word, take a sip of what you're sipping. My nice clear liquid here, water. And tonight's pod will end up covering some of our favorite movies set in Middle America, the Midwest. So, as has been my want these trying COVID-19 quarantine days, while the rest of the world has been on its best behavior, the U.S. is still a viral dumpster fire. We're all stuck at home, at least some of us. I'm stuck here at home. I'm so desperate for good news. Tell me something good, Nick.
I mean, not a lot's changed in mine except going back to work. Cash the Colin Morikawa ticket for the PGA this last weekend. So
yeah, my optimizer came in handy there. We're in this this private league, and I just kind of haven't played golf all year. I did my little optimizer mumbo jumbo, picked one guy myself, and I won. Yay!
Took it all down. Yeah, you had that birdie from DJ on 18.
I was too busy working or something. I was like, "You beautiful bag." I thought I'd lost it. I'm like, "All right, let's get second. I'll take my little $27." But no, DJ.
Man, I finally had a 6 of 6 week for golf last week, along with about 25% of everyone else in contest. I had the winner and barely cashed in the double ups, and I got shut out in tournaments. So the rest of my lineup outside of Morikawa was nothing to write home about. So
what? No showdown magic this week? You're the showdown sensei, aren't you? DraftKings.
I got close on Friday, I think it was. I got top 100 in the big $10 for about $75, but need a little bit more.
Hey, well, as you all can tell, we are dealing with a straight up DFS professional, so we will jump right into our proceedings with what we're watching. All right, and so let me get my screen together and share with you what I'm watching. And I'm aware it is not for everybody. I am a different kind of cat. I do like me the odd bit of politics, and it's odd because I never peg myself as one of those guys who I'm a politics guy, because I really am not. But the older you get, and the more you pay attention, the more stuff starts to matter to you. So the first thing I'd like to mention I'm watching is The Swamp. And probably, you only get this one picture of the swamp. And why not? It's a documentary on, money in politics, a true look in money in politics, and basically congressional politics, as seen through the eyes of the intolerable Matt Gaetz, largely. He's one of the protagonists. We start off with him, the real, true Florida man. He's, I forget which district he's from. He's from Florida. I think the Gold Coast district, up somewhere up in like the middle coast. Anyways, he's an awful human being. But what's great about this movie is that early on, at least for the first 30, 40 minutes, he really does. I mean, he cuts a bit of an empathetic figure. Like, he's just a freshman congressman trying to figure stuff out, trying to get alliances. You get shown real quick that you're basically extorted by your own party for your seat assignment. So, for example, if you're put on like the House Ways and Means Committee, which would be kind of rare for a freshman congressman, but if you're put on that, you have to come out of pocket some like $500,000 to the Republican Party, whatever, or whoever is controlling the seat. And I'm just like, that is just bonkers to me. That once you get there, and it's bad enough we have money throughout our politics period. Once you get there, your own party still extorts you for their own coffers. It's nuts. So that was kind of interesting, and seeing him kind of have a bit of a partnership with Ro Khanna, also a freshman congressman, but this one from Silicon Valley. Ideological opposites, but they both come together on shit like anti-gerrymandering, no corporate PAC money, and one or two other things. I was kind of like, maybe Matt Gaetz isn't such a bad guy. But then, halfway through, he sheds his lizard skin. It reveals his true form, just like the V aliens from the mid '80s TV show series. And he's an awful human being. And the best part about it is that the filmmakers let him do the talking, and they kind of cleverly edit him against reality, and it's just hilarious. So I recommend The Swamp. It's a bit more accessible than say its other HBO counterpart, which came out this week. On the Trail, the inside look at the 2020 primaries. That's definitely just for political junkies only. This one's a little bit more accessible because you do kind of see from several different people in Congress and outside Congress just how sickening it is how our politics are infused with money. Are you aware of The Swamp?
Was it on or no? No, I wasn't, because like we discussed pre-show, I didn't even get a call sheet in last week. So the only thing that I was aware of from last week is I did sit down and watch An American Pickle.
Oh, really? What did you think of that?
It was all right. I don't understand why Rogan just doesn't lean into the R ratings for his movies. It felt like a couple well-placed fucks would have made the movie more enjoyable. But I mean, overall, it was a solid watch. I think I gave it a 6 or a 7 on IMDb, something. So I'd revisit it, but it's one of those that if you don't see it, I don't think you're missing out on.
Yeah, I think I gave it a 7 myself. Like, it had its funny moment, maybe a 6. I can't remember. I thought it was fine. It was an interesting discussion this week on the Ringer Network family of podcasts. In like a couple podcasts, it's The Watch, which is one of my favorite ones. It's a podcast with film critic turned showrunner Andy Greenwald, and then his TV critic best friend Chris Ryan, and they kind of came up, and Andy Greenwald in the middle of their discussion this week kind of stumbled onto the idea of what he called medium movies, basically movies that, because there's a bunch of movies that seem almost perfect for streaming that are now being released for streaming that probably would have suffered at with the theatrical release, and they mentioned An American Pickle as one of those because it felt a bit slight, right? Like if oh no, go ahead.
Yeah, that's one, like if you would have saw in theaters, I probably would have liked it less, but knowing I could have just sat there and watched it in my recliner at home and paused it when I had to go to the restroom or something like that. And unfortunately, it seems like comedies, at least except like your Kevin Hart vehicles and everything like that, most of them, they're just making for smaller and smaller, to where it seems like it's going more towards it's just fine to watch it at home.
Yeah, that's a good point about comedies. I mean, there are few really big budget comedies that aren't like, say, action comedies that really need to play on the big screen. And our screens at home are so much bigger than they were in like the 80s and 90s. So all that totally makes sense. I kind of wonder about, especially with the deal that Universal basically strong-armed AMC into as far as shortening the theatrical window or whatever for releases. I kind of wonder if once we're on the other side of this quarantine and pandemic, how many films are just either going to bypass or are truly going to be embrace being medium movies. Like, you know what? I mean, maybe this could have worked in the 90s, the aughts, but right now, like, I don't want to say that we're going to get to a place where you're only going to see tentpole movies at the movie theater, because that would suck. I'm so glad I saw Parasite on a big screen. I went and saw it on an even bigger screen. I went and saw an IMAX version of it. And I mean, that's the type of movie where it doesn't necessarily have to be on a big screen, but I'm glad I saw it on a big screen. But I think that there might be some business decisions coming down the pike, especially as, productions being delayed, at least in the United States. They're filming elsewhere. We just can't get our act together. I think there might be some business decisions made about what types of movies, go towards streaming and embrace their mediumness, and what types, go more towards the theater. I remember being annoyed when I would pitch ideas back when I was on the fringes Hollywood screenwriter. I used to do this thing with my writing partner, Greg, aka G Nice, on the podcast, part of the tripod. We used to do this thing called the daily pitch. And I always get annoyed when I pitched my manager this idea and be like, that's a tweener. Like, and we didn't have streaming back then. Netflix was still sending out DVDs in the mail. And it used to get me annoyed, but now I see exactly what he means. Tweeners.
Yeah. No. Well, and like you said, it's the annoying part about comedies is my favorite movies to see when crowded theaters, if we ever get that again, is opening night for comedies and like opening night for horror movies. Because they just make they just make the experience better when you're in a theater either full of people laughing, or you have that tense moment when in the horror movies, or you get your random people yelling at the screen to don't go in there or anything like that.
Don't do it, girl. Yeah.
It makes the experience that much better. And I mean, I'm the same way as you. I'll see anything in theaters. I understand that there's some that it's better just to watch at home, but when given the option, I always prefer to go see it in theaters and get the big picture feel of being in a theater.
Sure. And another film that I watched from our DraftStream game is The Tax Collector. And
that's for Shia, right?
Yeah, this is Shia. And you know what? I might need to do some quick research as we talk about this, because I'm pretty sure I heard about Shia getting real life tattoos to play this guy. I mean, it sounds like
That sounds like something.
Did Shia LaBeouf tattoo his chest is the autocomplete from Google? Oh my Lord! You know what? All right, here. I gotta share this. Look at this shit. Actor Shia LaBeouf got his entire chest tattooed permanently for his new movie, The Tax Collector. He had a tooth pulled on Fury. And on Tax Collector, he got his whole chest tattooed. So he kind of goes all in. I've never known anyone that committed or insane. And the best / worst part about this is that, and I think I put this in the rundown notes because I'm sure you'll probably found it shocking, is that if you haven't seen the movie already, there's only one scene, one shot where you see his tattooed body the entire time. He's in a suit and tie. This makes no sense whatsoever. It is so dumb.
You can never deny Shia for his commitment to rules. You can call him crazy, but he's right there with Daniel Day-Lewis for going all in on a role.
Yeah, and honestly, from this other podcast I listened to on the Ringer Network, The Big Picture, said Chris Ryan was cross podcasting with the host of that one, Sean Fennessy, and was talking about how Shia LaBeouf, they actually glossed over The Tax Collector, and I'll give my quick review in a second, but he was talking about how Shia LaBeouf was basically positioned to be a little bit of like the Daniel Day-Lewis, whatever his generation, to be one of the more serious, best actors of his generation. He's a bit of a natural talent. He's a child actor, kind of grown up. We all kind of have actually watched a documentary called Showbiz Kids, also from The Ringers, Bill Simmons executive produced, which is kind of interesting. We all kind of know how child actors don't always make the transition successfully, sanely into adult actors or adulthood period. And Shia is just kind of like one of these guys who was really teed up in like the early aughts to become like the next big deal. I remember seeing, even in Little Affair, like Eagle Eye, which still was kind of late summer flashy, with Rosario Dawson and some other stuff. I thought he was gonna be like that guy, that dude, and something just snapped him, or I'm not sure what happened personally, but he's kind of been off the rails since. I guess he's kind of veering his way back into more serious fare, doing it on the indie circuit, Peanut Butter Falcon, some other stuff like that. And I guess this movie's been out there for like 2 or 3 years. They filmed this like a while ago, so this is kind of like the tail end of the super crazy phase, and it kind of shows. Have you seen The Tax Collector?
No, but I remember like hearing about it like 6 months ago, and I just assumed it was already out. Did it just get released on VOD this past weekend?
Yeah, they've been trying to sell it for 2 years apparently. So it's David Ayer, for better or worse. And David Ayer is, the guy who gave us, such classics like Training Day and lesser non-classics like Suicide Squad, which I enjoyed. I thought that was fine. Fury was good. He wrote and directed that. He's a talented writer, okay director. But and honestly, the first maybe 30 minutes, this kind of felt like Training Day for thugs. Because you see them go along. So the base of the tax collector, the premise of the tax collector is you have these two kind of collection agents for like a Latino mafia family, and who's, I guess.
Okay, I remember this preview now.
Who's
it's all coming back.
Yeah, the paterfamilias or whatever is in jail, and so they're going around and collecting all this money for the family business. And for the first 30, 40 minutes, you see them like going along their paper route. Matter of fact, the wife of the lead, and Shia LaBeouf is not the lead, mind you. It's this dude, Bobby Soto, is really good. The wife of the lead, she calls it his paper route. So yeah, let's get this money off this paper route. They're going. If you don't pay up, they do really bad things to you, and that's where Shia's character comes in. His name is Creeper, great name. And there's been a lot of talk kind of on the internets that Shia was brown facing it or something like that, and there's just no evidence of that. He does have this weird muddled accent, which is kind of like, it's not even like he's aping, like Latino gang speak or anything. It's just like he just sounds like a white boy.
He's just kind of a mumbler in movies too, so.
Yeah, he's a bit of a mumbler. The accent's a bit of a muddle. He just sounds like a white boy who wants to be down, or who's grown up around these people, and that's kind of how he sounds, right? Like Eminem, he doesn't sound like he's from the Valley or something. He sounds like he's from Detroit, like from the wrong side of Detroit. So it's kind of like the same version, only LA style. And he's fine. He's enjoyable. He's edgy. He's very entertaining. Very interesting. But the movie really isn't about him. He's kind of like just a side character. It's about this Bobby Soto guy and his family, and he's like a trigger happy, like bit of a goon, but he's a goon with soul. He's on a keto diet. He's watching what he eats. He doesn't drink or smoke. He's like, and always wears a suit under paper. It's crazy. Anyways,
this photo from him out that you had up on the screen, he looks like he's in excellent shape.
Yeah, he's very lean, ready to rock and roll. And but I enjoyed it because it's totally ridiculous. They try to infuse a lot of religion into it, just shoehorning it in. I'm like, okay, and it gets a little gruesome. Lana Parrilla, ooh man, yeah, keep getting them checks, girl. Love seeing her. George Lopez plays the mobbed up uncle. It's an interesting film. It's not a great film. It's kind of a good film, but I enjoyed it for what it is. It probably has potential to be an underground camp classic just because you can't take it too seriously. It's so gangster fused, machismo, it's laughable. Seriously, points where I was laughing. It's just so over the top. But I enjoyed it. It was a bit dark. A lot of dead bodies, a ritual suicide, whatever, Yeah, like this.
Oh yeah, that looks, yep.
It's David Ayer with no edits, it's whatever, and it comes in at like 90 minutes, 95 minutes, so you can knock it out in one sitting. It's all good. Anyways, and her, Cheyenne Ray Hernandez. I've never seen her before. Not only is she hot, her wardrobe is crazy, and she basically plays like, as they said in the movie, a female version of you, Creeper. She's like just like the assassin of all assassins. She is something else. Yeah. A lot of Look at that outfit. Look at them boots.
Yeah, I just clicked on her IMDb page, and that's her photo on there too.
Woo.
If she has to shoot me, I'd probably die happy.
You might go with a smile on your face, right? Yeah. So very stylish, very Actually, what has she done? This is the first time I've seen her. Has she done?
Looks like she's in. It looks like.
She's just getting started. Okay. Rumors. That's a TV miniseries. Have you seen Rumors? Is that something I should know about? Oh, post-production. It's not even out yet. Okay.
Yeah.
So she's just getting started. 5 credits. Hawaii Five-0. Did not watch that.
Well, and it looks like she was just in an episode of that. So yeah,
Okay.
she's very green.
Yeah, no, yeah. This definitely is going to get her some notice. She looks incredible in it. Her wardrobe's crazy, and she plays a very psychopathic killer. And I'm here for it in the David Ayer movie. Why not? Anyways, that's what I've been watching. What else have you been watching, Nick?
So with going back to work, I haven't really watched much. I did power through all 12 seasons of Big Bang Theory on HBO Max.
Really? So you're that guy.
I didn't see the last 3 seasons. I think when I moved away for a year or so, we didn't have cable, and it wasn't on any streaming services, so I never really watched much of the last 3 seasons. And I finally got to the end, and I know this show takes a lot of shit for being a network comedy, and the canned laughs and everything like that, but the way they wrapped everything up, it was very satisfying.
I agree.
Just having a good season finale or series finale could make the world of difference. Like I stuck with How I Met Your Mother all the way through, and to this day I'm still angry how they ended it, where it was basically just a slap in the face to everyone who'd watched the show. It's like, yeah, we knew Ted and Robin were going to end up together, and I don't even care if that's a spoiler alert. I'd save yourself some time. But no,
actually, I tapped out after maybe season 4, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed how it all came together, and it's just a fun show. It's a good show. It's a nice background show, and Other than that, I really like.
And I mean, it's a good show. I agree. I mean, if you have more ad, go ahead. I was just gonna chime in and say that that you're right. It does get a lot of shit to be a network TV show, albeit one of the most successful ones of all time. I mean, like it's probably the show that put Lorre well over the top of being a billionaire. Chuck Lorre, the creator, and I think Schindler too. And it's just, I mean, and after a while, they become like kind of old friends. I mean, I remember watching it when it first came out. Like, I didn't think anything was going to be. I was going to give like my standard 3 episodes would be done when it first came out, but it just stuck with me. It's it's kind of goofy, but the personalities are well drawn. I mean, they're likable enough. I mean, even Sheldon, who's kind of like I mean, if there's a hateable person on the show, it's probably him because he's so neurotic. And I know there's probably a whole school of thought out there, people saying, "Oh, he's undiagnosed, such and such," and it might be true. But the way they play it, it's fine. Like it's just who he is, and he's not more or less because of it. So I don't know. I just after a while, I just really like it was a good hang basically. It was
good. Yeah, like you said. I mean, it almost felt like you tuned in to just watch your friends hang out for 30 minutes every week, and the characters were really well developed, and it's just a quality TV show.
This is back when Raj couldn't speak to women, I bet, huh?
Yeah.
Without being drunk.
Yeah. He's got his grasshopper like drink, and
sad thing is I kind of know how to make that. Creme de menthe, white creme de cacao. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, that's a very. I've never made it in person, but yeah, that's like a really rare drink. It says a lot about
as someone who enjoys, I've never had one, but I enjoy mint, so I feel like it's something I would enjoy. But
I think you would, yeah.
It looks tasty.
Yeah. All right, so Big Bang, and actually, while you did the Big Bang Theory, I for some reason decided to start over with Friends because I kind of came in late on the first season, and I honestly didn't really even watch it too tough because back at the time, probably before your time, before you were even born, maybe. I don't know. When it first came, no, that's not true. Friends came out.
I was alive. I was a toddler when it came out, but
fair enough.
Friend. What I guess what did you think going through and watching it today, like in today's time?
Well, I haven't finished it. I'm only in like the second season because they were committed to that 22 episode.
Oh yeah, right off the bat.
90s were a different time, but also when it came on, I mean, I mean, one, I was in college. Two, and back then we didn't have like at Morehouse, we didn't have a lot of choice when it came to what we could watch, at least in communal settings. And that came on at the same time as Martin, I think. And honestly, I was pro Martin anyway. It was either Martin or Living Single, or actually, no, I'm sorry, it came on at the same time as Living Single. That's what it was. And since Living Single had been on like a year or so earlier, we called it the White Living Single. And so anybody was fucking with that. Nobody was fucking with Friends. You know, they didn't look like us. So it took me a while to even get into the loop of Friends. And so I'm like, all right, well, let me start watching this thing from the beginning, see how it is. And that first season's pretty uneven. But towards the end of the season, they start to find their rhythm. And early second season, but it's kind of like it's starting to get to the point where it is kind of like hanging out with like, you know, of your friend group, whatever. Even though a shocking lack of Black or Latino people in New York City, it's just like seriously.
Yeah, well, they go through 9 or 10 seasons, and that really doesn't change.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think of Friends?
So I enjoy the show. I'm well aware of why, right? And I don't think it holds up great. It's not like necessarily like insensitive or anything. It's just in the time you get really invested, like because I guess by the time they really got to like the 6th season, I'd sit down and watch it with my parents every week when it came on and everything like that, because I was old enough to start realizing. So I pretty much watched from like season 6 on while it originally aired.
Okay.
And then since it's been on Netflix and now HBO Max, I've probably seen through the series at least 10 to 15 times. It used to be just a background show for me. So
okay. Have it on just for light, huh?
Yeah. Well, and then it's on TBS every day for like 3 hours. So
true.
I can probably sit here and quote episodes without actually having them on. But man, as I get older and just realize, because I think when the show started, they're supposed to be in like their early 20s, like 22, 23, just living in New York.
More like mid to late 20s. I think like Ross is like a doctor. So it's got to be at least 25, 27-ish. Yeah. And their real ages were like mid to late 20s themselves. So.
But they just, Ross and Rachel, as we go along, frankly, Ross is a terrible person, especially as the show goes on.
We were on a break!
Which, I mean, I'll put my official statement out there. They were on a break, but also you don't go sleeping with someone literally the night that you break up if your ultimate goal is to get back together with them. So he's right in the sense that they were on the break. He's also wrong that he, you know, banged the Kinko's girl too. So, but I know it takes a lot of hate nowadays, especially at Ghost. So I understand where that comes from, but I still enjoy it. As I've started watching I watch Seinfeld more and more. It's past Friends for me. Just
and Seinfeld's one, like you said, always on syndication, whatever. I watched it, I think, honestly, from the beginning all the way through when it was on air. And that's one I haven't really revisited, but it is one that I'll catch snippets of when, I mean, channel surfing really isn't much of a thing anymore these days, at least not for me, because I have YouTube TV. You really have to be like, you know, I mean, it's not like
you got to go out of your way to channel.
Yeah. You really have to like, oh, this is on, I'm going to stop and watch it versus, you know, you're flicking through like we used to. But Seinfeld, I think, would probably hold up mostly because they're adults. They also had a fairly, you know, white-centric view of New York, but they would mix in, you know, the diversity of New York Times, everything from like the Soup Nazi. Not a lot of Black people. Once again, it's okay, fine, whatever. Not everything's about us, but I enjoyed it at the time for what it was because they really had a talent. And as we see now, with Curb Your Enthusiasm, it's pretty much just the end of Larry David. They really had a talent for making a whole episode about nothing. And that kind of really resonated with me because me and my friend group would always get into these arguments or discussions about nothing, the minutia of the minutia. And they really made that into high art. And so many quotable lines that kind of stays with you. It really has embedded itself in the lexicon of pop culture.
Oh yeah, for sure. You can just sit there and pop on an episode now and like everything they're still talking about, the fights about like the little arguments you get in your friend over like who who's the better baseball player, and then you get into a 45-minute verbal assault on each other as you go deep and down that rabbit hole, and it's just everything feels relatable, even what 30 years later, whenever, what, 97 was that the last year it was on?
You know, there was a spiritual air to this show called Alone Together. Have you seen that show?
I don't think so.
Oh man, it was on Freeform for 2 short, glorious seasons. It starred little Esther Pavitsky. That's how I found out about her. And I called it basically Seinfeld for millennials. You would enjoy the shit out of it because they've also Alone Together. Actually, yeah, let me bring that up. Everyone knows Seinfeld. Screw these guys. Alone Together is excellent. It's 2 best friends, Benji and Esther. They're both comedians too. Not in the show. In the show, I think they're kind of just struggling young people trying to figure it out. Yeah, little Esther Pavitsky and Benji Aflalo, and they're basically like the Jerry and Elaine, but it's just like it's for millennials. It's very millennial centric. She's super obsessed with like everything that's like superficial, and he's just a neurotic, young Jewish kid, and their friend groups as typically millennial eclectic, and it's just a really fun show. It's really funny. I enjoyed it. I was sad to see it go, but it had Chris D'Elia. He's been canceled.
Oh yeah, that he doesn't hold up well.
And he kind of plays a bit of a creep on here, but he plays Benji's older brother that she's in love with. It's just really funny though. She's just got so many weird quirks, and I don't know if you saw her stand-up special on Comedy Central. She was great in that as well. She's really talented. I really like her a lot. She's very funny, and she is kind of sneaky hot. Like this, and her whole thing was called Hot for My Name. She's 5'0", it's kind of tiny, but she's got like this energy to her, and that's just really kind of infectious and kind of attractive. It's really weird. And she's like 32. She looks like she's 22. It's amazing.
Yeah, she's sneaky hot.
Yeah. So, anyways, I highly recommend that. Just give it. I would say I was all in after the first episode, honestly, but give it 2 episodes, an hour of your life. I promise you'll plow through the whole thing. It's only probably about maybe 20 episodes in existence, I think. So yeah, I think you'd enjoy it.
Well, Tuesday and Wednesdays are my off days, so I've got time to kill tomorrow. So
there you go. Enjoy the sneaky hot girl. All right. We are now on to our main topic for this episode. Top 5 Midwest movies. Now, for those of you who are new to the program or need a reminder, the way the game works is we name a movie that takes place or uses the Midwest as a character. We alternate picks. Once someone picks a movie, that movie is out of play. And since you are playing away games here, Nick, you are a guest. You get to go first. And I'm pretty sure you're picking one of the ones I've starred. So put me out of my misery.
Well, as I was doing my research for this, I can tell you right off the bat, I'm going to lean hard into the city of Chicago for our Midwest movies.
All right.
And I'm going to start with Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Damn it. I knew it was going to come up, so I spared myself the trouble of getting my heart broken, but it was one of the first ones that came across for me too. And yes, Chicago is a great resource for middle America movies. Okay.
So this just feels, well, first off, I going back to the Ringer podcast network, I know Simmons has talked about it a lot. The amount of stuff he gets in on the time and still gets back home to beat his parents before homework is he's got some time continuum that he travels through. But everything about this movie is it's just fun. Like I know when I watched this and I would stay home sick from school, whether I was faking it or I was actually sick, you're just sitting there thinking, you're like, how can I get to do all of these things? And what's her name?
Mia Sara.
Mia Sara.
Yeah.
Mia just looks fantastic in the movie. Alan Ruck, he's like 30 years old in this movie, and he still passes as a high school kid. wearing his
AKA the dumb brother in Succession, Connor.
and then obviously Matthew Broderick. This speaking of channel surfing, whenever you're channel surfing, if I see this on, this is just an instant. I'm gonna throw it on and watch it until it's over type of movie.
Yeah, you know what? I think the draft mom has not seen this movie, so I think she needs to be indoctrinated.
Oh,
this is a great movie.
It's what? It was 87?
86.
86.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's coming up on 35 years old, and it's still relatable now as it was when it came out.
It's just a fun day with your friends, and basically, you know, Ferris Bueller, you know, skipped school. For those of you who are either too young or lack this or have this hole in your pop culture library, Ferris Bueller, Matthew Broderick, you know, basically fake sick to just have a day off to friends. Nowadays, we probably call it self-care day, and your parents probably let you take it off anyways. But back then in the 80s, that shit didn't exist. So he fakes being sick, goes to round up his friends, gets his girlfriend, that's super hot, Mia Sarah, at the peak of her powers, goes to get her out of school, and they go over to his friend Cameron's house Cameron's just feeling depressed and got a rich dad who doesn't love him. So they basically spend the entire day trying to cheer him up. And it's just a great day. It's a great day in the city of Chicago. They do a lot of Chicago-centric stuff that, you know, most people normally wouldn't be able to get to do. And it's just a fun time out in town. It's just one day where they get to see everything, and he's being chased and hounded by his principal, who, you know, has had enough of his shit.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a fun time in the movie. I really enjoyed it. I really did. It was such a fun movie.
Yeah. Well, you could almost just make the case that it should have been Cameron's day off because it's what he needed.
Yeah, he needed a self-care day. He totally did. He totally did. And yeah, they go to Cubs games, Sears Tower, back when it's called the Sears Tower, all that good stuff. So yeah, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, excellent pick. Excellent. Good job on you, buddy. So I'm going to get this out of the way because I'm sure it came up in your research. I'm just going to do Twister. And that movie, actually, I like that movie, Twister. It definitely is a tour of the Midwest. It's basically some storm chasers played by Bill Paxton. Oh, R.I.P. One of the good ones. Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt. I think this was kind of the movie that really, in the mid-90s, Helen Hunt had she was making the crossover from TV to film, which nowadays is nothing, but back then it was like a really big deal because she was on a successful show called Mad About You with Paul Reiser, and this is kind of like her hiatus project that she did. Came out in summer. It's kind of like a low-key but big, you know, summer disaster flick. They're basically storm chasers chasing hurricanes throughout the Midwest, and I mean, I remember seeing it in the theater. You know, it was a thrill. It was different. I mean, the special effects were on point, but for some reason, it really kind of took off. It made a ton of money, spawned a cottage industry of the next 3 years of just like, you know, low rent knockoff. Yeah, disaster films, Volcano, some other bullshit. Anyways, but it's not like a great movie, but it's a fun movie, and it definitely takes you through, you know, a few different subcultures of the Midwest. And yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it. Twister. I think I enjoyed it.
Yeah, this was a movie.
Alan Ruck again.
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Wow. Yeah.
Just no. I feel like it's going to be a common theme with our list. With the Midwest, there's not going to necessarily be a lot of amazing movies, but most of these are just going to be fun. And
hey, rep your region. Rep your region. You're from the Midwest, right? I mean, don't play yourself short. We might find some hidden gems out there.
I mean, I do have some Oscar-nominated ones on my list, so we might get there. But no, yeah, this is just, it's a ridiculous disaster movie, and it's a fun watch.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so go ahead. What's your second film?
All right, I'm gonna go back to the city of Chicago, and or I guess just outside of Chicago, and I'm gonna go with Mean Girls.
Ah, that was on my list. Nicely played. Low-key one of my favorite movies of all time. Like when I was
just about to say this. I love this movie. I mean, you want to talk about a cast of attractive people too.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Lindsay Lohan, Rachel McAdams, Amanda Seyfried, Lacey Chabert. Just, what was it? I think this was right as puberty was starting too, so that might have had a little bit to do with it. But I quote this movie to this day.
You can't sit with us.
Wednesdays where we wear pink. She doesn't even go here.
Yeah, she doesn't even go here. So so much talent too. Like yeah, like you mentioned, young Lizzie Kaplan, Janice.
Yep.
Yes. Just Tina Fey, who wrote this and had a nice little guest starring little role in this movie. I mean, just you're right. It's quite possibly a perfect movie. So much fun. Definitely one of the better, best high school teen movies ever. Oh, there's an idea for a pod. High school movies. Okay.
Speaking of that, the next poll that Chuck Nasty and I are doing, I think we're gonna do teen movies. So that's actually the one we're working on, and so Mean Girls and Ferris Bueller probably going to end up near as 1 seeds or very close to or 2 seeds.
Make sure you tag CinemaDraft on that. I want to participate. I definitely want to weigh in because I have thoughts. Yeah, this is a great cast. All these guys. And this is, Rachel McAdams was a bit of a known quantity at this point, but still, it's like, this is what showed me not only can she do comedy, but that she's up for anything. And I kind of mentioned, I think, in a few podcasts before about how the Eurovision, yeah, how pleasantly surprised it was by Eurovision, but how I shouldn't have been that surprised, because when it comes to Rachel McAdams, whatever she does, she goes all in. She commits. No matter how dumb or goofy the movie is, Red Eye, she's in there. Game Night, she's in there. This, she really leans into Regina George, the queen bee of the social circle at Lindsay Lohan's new high school, and it's just, it's such a good movie. They've made a Broadway play out of it, for crying out loud. So good, so good. Excellent pick. I can't fault it. This is so inappropriately hot.
Yep.
Yes, all the performers are over 18 years of age, but I remember watching this in the movie and I'm like, oh my goodness, there's some papers here. Yeah, Jingle Bell Rock. Yeah, good, excellent pick. I cannot fault. And it is ostensibly set in Evanston, right? Like suburb of Chicago, where my former writing partner G Nice is from. So yeah, nice. Well played. Not scratched off my list. But I will lean into, actually, I'm going to take this one off the board because I know it's coming. This one screams Midwest, and it's Fargo. Had to do it.
Yep.
Way too obvious. If I didn't do it, I'm sure it was your next pick. I'm not talking about the TV show, although that's interesting. Oh, and here goes the TV show. Let's go to the movie. There it is. Frances McDormand. Look at that hair. Yeah. Frances McDormand. Yeah, you betcha. The total Minnesota accent.
We're out here.
There it is. Much better than I could. And yeah, like I said, a homespun murder story, a little bit of a murder mystery. Frances McDormand is she's a pregnant cop, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, pregnant cop trying to figure out this murder and stuff. It's set in the dead of winter in Minnesota, and I think she has to take a trip to Fargo, North Dakota. So yeah. Oh wow, is that Peter Stormare? This guy, he's definitely one of that guys. This guy has been getting checks for probably about 40 years. He's been in everything. He's in Armageddon playing Russian. I think his background is like Czechoslovakian or something, but he's played every type of white person you can imagine. No, he's Swedish. I didn't even know that. I thought he was Russian for all these years or some sort of Ukrainian. Wow. Very talented.
I guess Stormare does sound pretty Swedish, but yeah, no, he's definitely one of those that guys. I wouldn't have been able to pull his name, but like you see him and you're like, oh, I know.
Yeah, he's everywhere. So yeah, so it's a very talented cast. I think this also was that Bill Paxton again? I think this.
William H. Macy.
William H. Macy, that's right.
And I think Buscemi's in it too.
Wow, stacked cast, very stacked cast. Oh, there's the video again. Whatever. And I think she won an Oscar for this. So yeah, and this is the movie that I think that really solidified the Coen brothers as a force to be reckoned with. And they've been, I mean, I'm not saying they've been dining out in this movie, but when people think of the Coen brothers, the first movie they kind of think of is Fargo, because this is what kind of really jump-started for them. So, yeah.
No, yeah, I actually just watched this for the first time a couple months ago. I mean, I'd watched the first season of the show, and I was aware of the movie. I knew everything that happened, but I never actually sat down and watched it, and it didn't disappoint.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so that was my second one, I guess. So what's your third one?
All right. All right. We're gonna go back to the Chicago area one more time, and we're gonna go with A League of Their Own.
Oh, I love that movie. Everyone loves that movie.
There's just so much to love about this movie. You got Gina Davis, fantastic. Tom Hanks is the curmudgeoned old former washed up disgraced baseball player. Now he's the coach, and I mean, it's really hard for me to complain about a sports movie, and then this just has everything about it. I'm still a firm believer that Gina Davis drops the ball on purpose at the end of the game. So at the end of Game 7 for the World Series, she goes home to be with her husband who just got back from the war, which is fair. She missed him, but then she decides to come back, play Game 7 of the World Series, and then purposely drops the ball for her team, and her team loses. You know what? I'd be a little upset at her if I was anyone else on the team.
And you know what? I think I've only seen this once in the theater. I really enjoyed it. I get why it's a classic. And the classic line, which is,
"There's no crying in baseball."
There it is. I mean, I get all that. And I remember when I saw it, I think it was, if it was covered at all, it was glossed over at best. But I really like the fact that it covered this part of history that, you know, was never really talked about. It's rarely talked about, you know, during World War II. All the men, all the men's were off fighting, you know, in the Big Bad War. A lot of women took over traditionally male jobs, like, you know, the old Rosie the Riveter, all sort of stuff. That propaganda, you know, to encourage women at the time who, you know, were not being drafted and staying at home in the United States to do their part. You know, there was no baseball for a while. You know, there was, you know, Ted Williams, you know, the legendary Hall of Fame hitter, you know, had to go fly fighter planes and shit because it was a war. And so in their stead, they fielded a league of women baseball players. And that was an actual real thing that happened. And I had no idea really kind of going into the movie when I saw it in 92. And I loved it. I thought it was great. And it kind of got my curiosity up a little bit about that type of stuff to the point where even now, some 20 something, oh God, it's almost 30 years later. I've actually watched. I had sat the draft mom down to watch this documentary about two real life League of Their Own women, you know, who played at the time, who are still alive. I mean, no, I'm sorry, they're not alive. One of them is alive, one of them died. Basically, they're you know, closet lesbians who played in the same, I think on the same team or in the same league, and kind of kept their love hidden for a long time until, you know, I think maybe in the 70s they finally maybe came out, whatever. But they've been together every day for like 60 years. It's like the most beautiful thing you ever heard. And it's really interesting watching like their relationship, you know, now as older frail women reflect on their time playing in, you know, the women's, you know, baseball league. It's really kind of cool. So yeah, I love me some historical fiction. So that's that too. Yeah, great one. Great cast too. Penny Marshall, another good one. Gone. R.I.P. Just a great director. Such a light touch. Always love a good Penny Marshall film. All right, so my third one will be. Let's go with young adult. Charlize Theron. Very Midwestern movie. Very much smack dab in the middle. She plays a former. Well, I mean, she's still kind of hot. I mean, they do their best to like glam her down. Have you seen Young Adult? First of all, Ringballs.
Yeah. Patton Oswalt's her in there. The guy lusting after her, right?
Yeah. That's an interesting role for him in this as well. And yeah, this is another one directed by Jason Reitman. That's right, Ivan Reitman's son, the guy who directed Ghostbusters and all that good stuff. Um, I mean, he's very talented. This is kind of flown under the pop culture radar, but I think people who've seen it have real affection for it because it's a really good film. It's the type of movie where she's unlikable. You know this from damn near the opening frame. She's basically in a sense of Arrested Development, where she still goes out, gets drunk out every night. I mean, her job, such as it is, I mean, do we really even know what her job is or was? I forget what it was, but
she's a writer, isn't she? Writes young adult
yeah,
novels, right?
there you go. That's right. Totally forgot about that. She writes young adult novels, and she's kind of basically been the type of person that we all kind of mocked in high school. We were being picked on. Well, I'm going to grow up, and you're still going to be, you're still going to be like in high school. And she's like the living embodiment of that person. She never kind of, she peaked in high school, has lived kind of off that forever. Oh, written by Diablo Cody, actually. This is one of her hot spec scripts at the time that got sold. Diablo Cody, who wrote Juno, that's what really got her put on. I think also from the Midwest. Anyway, she's living in Minneapolis, the big city, whatever. Finds out that like I guess her ex-boyfriend from high school had gotten married or something, or is getting married, and so she goes over there to break it up. Figures she's gonna roll in town, fix herself up a little bit, be kind of hot, and just turn his head, make him fall back in love with her, and that becomes like her mission throughout the entire movie, which is a terrible mission, but it's kind of darkly comedic, I guess, and she's kind of forced with the fact that not only is she not 18 anymore, and people have emotionally matured, but she has some growing up to do herself. Blah blah blah. Does she quite get there? You're gonna have to see it to figure out if she quite gets there. But yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. I rewatched it, I think, about a year ago. Definitely holds up. Great writing, great lead performance by Charlize. I mean, she honestly can do anything. I mean, to think that she started off as a model, and that, I mean, and not say that models are lesser than people or anything, but to think that people who go on the model track or who start off the model track, I mean, they kind of get pigeonholed. But she is like a full 360-degree actor. She can do anything. The old guard, she's kind of entering this kind of middle-aged. God, I can't believe I'm saying middle. There, drink. I can't believe I'm saying middle age, but I'm middle age, I guess. Whatever. 44, I embrace it. Fuck you all. But she's entering this middle age action series of her career that suits her really well. I mean, she's always going to be. She's never not going to be gorgeous. She's never not going to be attractive or whatever. And even when she's not, who cares? Because she really can act her ass off. This is the type of movie where, yeah, you could see that she's good looking, or at least was once good looking, which is the whole part of the point of the character. But she's doing some real acting here that kind of might go under the radar. Yeah,
well, this one and Tully, where they try to just make her look homely and nothing that special, you still look at her and you're just like, she looks fantastic.
Yeah, the only movie that really successfully pulled it off, for which I think she won her Oscar for,
was Monster.
Yeah, Monster. Yeah, and that needed heavy prosthetics to hide all of that. Yeah, I love me some Charlize Theron. I am officially in the era of her career where I'll watch anything she's in. So yeah, and actually, speaking of, there is some obscure Netflix film in my queue that she's in that no one really talks about. So I have to go watch that. But yeah, I like everyone's cast.
Which one's that?
It's called damn, you know what? I honestly would not know it unless I ran across it. But, oh my God, her producing credits are nuts too. She's a really good producer. Bombshell, The Old Guard. I guess we're doing another Atomic Blonde. Good for her. Hyperdrive, which is like this TV show about like the flying the flying drones, like drone racing. Okay, whatever. She's executive produced Mindhunter. Put that on your resume. I mean, yeah. So she's got impeccable taste. A Private War, which is a really good but depressing film, starred Rosamund Pike. Once again, the historical fiction. This war photographer, following her loves and losses. And Tully, she's in. Girl Boss is terrible. Got to have at least one misfire. Oh, she produced Brain on Fire. That's been my cue forever. Okay, I'm gonna watch that. Yeah, so The Burning Plane was excellent. So yeah, she's got great taste as even just a producer. But yeah, she was in what's the movie? Long Shot, Gringo, Tully, The Orville. She was in The Orville? Oh no, thank you. The Last Face. That's what it was. Sounds kind of nondescript, but it's got Javier Bardem.
Oh, I remember seeing this poster. I'm not familiar with the movie. I never saw it.
So it's out there. It's probably in your queue, or you should put it in your queue. Maybe check it out. Feet. Come on, what's going on here? You know what? Okay.
Is this
Creep
a
me out.
Tarantino movie?
I know, right? Yeah, it's a QT movie. It's creeping me out, but I'm gonna check it out because it's got Charlize. Small cultural cul-de-sac, whatever. But yeah, I love her. So yeah, young adult. That's my third film. What's your fourth one?
All right, so IMDb had this as a Midwestern movie, so I'm gonna go ahead and take it, and it's Borat. So I'm gonna put that on my list.
You know what? That will allow it because he does go through the middle of America, as well as a couple of cities, and exposing how dumb Americans truly are. So have at it.
So this, I wasn't old enough to see rated R movies. I didn't turn 17 until 07, so I snuck into this. And
very nice. I like.
And this movie, I don't think I had ever laughed harder at a movie than the first time I saw this. Just all the uncomfortable, awkward, just like you start off with a bang with him walking through his Kazakhstan country, and I need to go back and rewatch this movie.
I do too. Just look at these publicity stills. I'm just smiling my ass off.
And then after the movie came out, he was getting sued left and right, and it's just this. I love it. I don't really know what else much to say. Look, I mean, just that mustache.
It's so good. He is so good in this. And this is a movie, and he had a follow-up called Bruno like a year or two later.
Yeah,
which was similarly funny, but nothing could top the first one because this is the first kind of its kind. Like he made a feature-length movie out of pranks. It's like, is at the time I think Ashton Kutcher was kind of hot on his what was it? Punked. Yeah, he's doing Punked. Those are half-hour vignettes. They're like one-offs, whatever. He somehow stitched together, the very, minimal semblance of a plot of this, foreigner going to America to find out true Americans, basically setting us all up to fail because he's exposing us for all of our prejudices and insecurities and just, basic dumbassery. And they just let him into his home because he was pretty unknown at this point. He'd done the Ali G show, and I think it had come out at that point on HBO, and I watched it. I thought it was hilarious. I loved what he was doing. He's hosting these actual interviews with real people who weren't in on the joke. Like, I got it. But the second I started seeing publicity for this, I'm like, oh, I'm there. I was there opening day.
Oh, yeah.
I laughed my ass off. There's so many, funny, things, one-liners and visual sight gags that he did that just, that still would play to this day. It's very funny. He's all in on the bit. He makes everyone uncomfortable. I love the pieces.
all these screen grabs of him just dying laughing during his interviews. Just
I like. Very nice. My wife. Yeah, my wife. Sacha Baron Cohen, and he had a nice little miniseries on Netflix, The Spy, I think, which is pretty good. It showed a very non-funny, very dramatic side. So he's a talented performer, and he married very well. I love Isla Fisher.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Outkicked his coverage there.
Yeah. Malibu. And I think, oh, my God. Oh, my Lord. Yes. This might be the still that goes up on Instagram for us. This might be the screen grab right here, right now. Yeah.
This scene here where he's at the rodeo, it's just.
It's wow. So yeah, wow, great pick, Borat. Okay, I'm gonna go a little bit more traditional. Field of Dreams. Don't get much more Midwest than Iowa.
Yep, smack
And,
dab in the middle of the Midwest.
yeah. Have you seen Field of Dreams?
I have, but it's been a long time since I've seen it. I mean, it's Kevin Costner in a baseball movie, so I saw it.
Did it make you cry?
Uh, no, because I was probably 10 or 11 the last time I actually sat down and watched it, so
I remember
wasn't
seeing
crying.
this in a theater in Seattle. I was in high school. My was it? Yeah, 89. Yeah, barely in high school. Maybe it was eighth grade. That was close. And I remember my best friend's dad took us to see it at the Guild 45th in Ballard. And this might have been the first movie I ever cried at the end. I don't know what it is about this movie and men and tears, but it seems to invite the waterworks out of us. Something about like fathers and sons and having a game of cat. And I grew up without my father. Not a big deal. I'm not overly emotionally scarred by it. Well, I'm scarred in certain ways, but that's not for this podcast. Anyways, I mean, but it's just something, and it wasn't even like, oh, I miss my father or anything, but just something about like the pure, emotionality of sports, not only as just a metaphor, but as a vehicle for men to, express their feelings and to connect with each other. It just really kind of hit me, and it was really well done. Costner's great. James Earl Jones is great. I mean, the old timey baseball of it all too, and the idea of just, I mean, I've only been on a farm a handful of times, whatever. I've never lived on a farm per se, except for one weekend when my mom made me go stay at someone's farm. And I mean, just to get the experience, right? But just have the notion that I'm going to go in my backyard where I got this crop I can't really use, and raise it and make a baseball field. Just make a baseball field because a ghost told me to. It's not only just bizarre, but it's also kind of inspiring. It kind of made me look around like, all right, what can we make out of my backyard, And I really did look at that. After I saw this movie, I looked around like, can we make like can I make a little mini green monster in my back? I was serious about that. So it's a really heartwarming film. It's definitely family friendly. The little girl, what? Oh my, Gabby Hoffman. Oh my gosh. She's like a person now. She's like old now. Yeah, she's got like credits, 46 credits. I'm like, that name sounds familiar. She was a little girl? Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I mean, she's not a very famous performer, but she's here and there in little parts. I mean, I definitely remember her in Obvious Child, the movie with Jenny, not Smart, Jenny, the from Saturday Night Live, Jenny Slate, Jenny Slate. Thank you. I was gonna get there eventually. Thanks for going on that journey with me. Yeah, Gabby Hoffman. She has like, oh yeah, and she's on Transparent, which I have yet to see, but I probably should see now that I have Prime. Because I hear it's pretty good.
Have you seen the little girl in what?
Have you seen Transparent?
I haven't watched it. It was one of those that when I saw it, because it won a bunch of Emmys, right?
I'm sorry?
They won a bunch of Emmys.
Oh yeah, Emmys? Yeah, absolutely, yeah, totally did. And I think it kind of paved the way for Glow. Like I think one of the showrunners on that, or one of the writers on that, end up becoming a showrunner for Glow. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, so a touch of historical fiction, 1919 Black Sox, all sort of stuff. Nice sweeping vistas of Iowa and the Midwest cornfields, all that good stuff. Yep, that's my fourth movie. What's your last movie? Ringballs.
So, I'm torn because I've got Tuck Nasty standing over here looking at me, and he really wants me to pick a certain movie, but I don't think I can do a good enough job describing it as well as him. So I think I'm going to call him over here and I'm going to let him pick it.
Bring in the Southpaw. Bring the Southpaw.
Yeah. Come on over, Andrew.
Our first ever Zoom bomb on the pod. What's up, Tech Nasty?
Andrew, this is Eduardo.
Oh. What's going on, Andrew? Tech Nasty, also a CinemaDraft player. Welcome to the pod. Glad to have you.
Good to see you. So it's It's the last one for Midwest movie. You go and tell Eduardo what you want to do.
Son-in-law.
Son-in-law. Okay. Do tell. I'm not familiar with this one.
It's a Pauly Shore movie.
Oh boy.
He's yeah, it's something. He's a college guy who has been basically majoring in everything. And a girl from the Midwest comes to California and brings him back for Thanksgiving, and hijinks ensue from there.
Carla Gugino. Or is it Gugino or Gugino? I think it's Gugino, right? Yeah, I love
I think it's This movie is. It says outrageously funny, and that's pretty apt description. It's ridiculous. It's by no means a high quality movie, but there's charm. It's charming. There's laughs.
Oh, the all important outrageously funny from ABC Radio Network. So you got to go with that. You got to do it.
Right.
Okay. All right, Pauly Shore.
I mean, this was peak Pauly Shore. 93 is 93.
Oh man, the hair.
His name is Crawl in this movie, because he crawls back to the dorms every night.
That was his name, Crawl?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. You know what? Because I respect y'all's opinion so much, I will put it on the list. I'm telling you right now, from the looks of it, it might be a 30-minute movie, but I'll at least give it the 30 minutes. I'll do that. Look at Pauly, because I mean, at least for me, even when peak Pauly Shore was happening, I was out on Pauly Shore. I think I saw Biodome maybe, but kind of fell asleep. So I don't know. But I love Carla Gugino, so I might give it a shot just for her.
Yeah, she's in it a lot. She's the quote unquote love interest of Pauly Shore. So,
all right, Son-in-law. All right. So I don't know how I'm going to top Son-in-law, but I will try. I'm gonna close this out with. I was gonna do Election because that's quite very much a Midwest high school type show or whatever. But I'm gonna go to the big city, kind of like how you've been leaning on Chicago. I'm gonna go to 8 Mile, Detroit. Very gritty Detroit. It's more a rap movie than say a Midwest movie, but it's very much of a time and a place. And that time was the aughts, and that place was definitely, Detroit. I mean, just in all its grittiness, all its kind of urban non-glory, and the cypher rap battle scene and stuff. Eminem basically playing a younger version of himself, but I mean, and I'm still at a loss at why he just kind of basically did this and dipped. I mean, so many things about this production were nominated for an Oscar. I think the song might have won the Oscar, right? Like Lose Yourself.
I believe it did.
Yeah, won the Oscar. Great soundtrack. I mean, and he was a great actor. I really dug him. Did he ever act after this? I don't think
he played himself in the one with Franco and Rogan where they have to kill Kim Jong-un.
Wait, these are all music videos.
The Interview.
He was. Oh wow, I forgot about that. Okay, The Interview. So it's like this himself in Entourage. He was in Funny People. I missed that. I forgot about that. All right, so it's a bit.
It looks like he just plays himself in everything.
Yeah, but it's Jimmy B. Rabbit. I mean, there was some heavy lifting actor-wise in that film, and he was up to the challenge. He was fine. He was fine for it. I mean, I really liked his. And this could be Eminem stuff. Let's go back to the film. The whole. I mean, the rap part he had down, but the whole part of just being kind of broke and poor and white in a majority black city like Detroit, very very interesting, and also being white going to the largely predominantly black dominated rap battle scene. The guy flying with this huge wig. Oh my god. the Bumba dreads. But yeah, it was. I mean, but you bought it though. I mean, it was good, and I really want Brittany Murphy. Another good one we lost. R.I.P. Brittany. Very talented also. Kim Basinger playing, white trashy mother. It was a good film. I think I saw it a couple times in the theater. I was shocked at how good it was. I really was.
Oh yeah, it was way better than it probably should have been.
And there's another producer with impeccable taste, Brian Grazer. I mean, they put out a lot of movies, Imagine Entertainment, but this is the same guy who greenlit Boomerang, so he will always have a place in my heart. Always. Look at that, Omar Benson Miller. Actually, this is the first film I think I saw him in. Now I think about it. He's gone on now to be on Ballers.
Yeah.
Rest in pseudo power, I guess. Yeah, that's my final one. All right, good stuff, gentlemen.
Speaking of ballers, we get real life ballers with The Rock playing the XFL now.
That's right. Yeah, okay, Rock. I see what you're cooking. I don't know if it's got flavor, but all right, do you? Another guy with more money than sense, but you know, do you? But all right, well, that concludes the main part of this podcast, and now we're going to. There was my video once more. All right, and now we are going to take a pause for the cause, and for those listening to the podcast, we're going to take a break to bring you up to speed on the game of CinemaDraft and our DraftStream game variant, how it's played, and how you can participate. Meanwhile, for those of you watching the video, we'll be back very shortly after this quick moment. And we're back. So, our quarantine movie of the week last week was The Half of It. And actually, let me share my screen so you can see what's still up here. By the time you all watch or listen to this podcast, we will have the new one up for this week. And here it is, The Half of It, which is, I mean, have you seen The Half of It, Nick?
Yeah, this was on our call sheet about a month or so ago, and I think I went heavy on it that week, and I watched it. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I liked it a lot too. It's a really charming movie, a modern day take on Cyrano de Bergerac. Now, our quarantine movie of the week this week shall be Notting Hill. Now, once again, this might be a little before your time, but are you familiar with Notting Hill, Ringballs?
I'm familiar. This is the one with the "I'm just a girl" or a boy. That phrase.
Yeah, I'm just a girl standing in front of a boy, asking him to love her. Oh, gets me every time. I rewatched it a couple weeks ago. It's just so charming, so incredibly charming. Basically, it's Julia Roberts playing a version of herself, a movie star named Anna Scott, where she falls for a London everyman while on a shoot, you know, in London. He's like a bookstore owner in the Notting Hill section of London. And, you know, her, you know, movie star falling for a mere mortal just, you know, has all sorts of unintended consequences and effects. And it's great. I mean, they've got pretty good chemistry. She is just at the height of her Julia Roberts-ness. I mean, I know you know who Julia Roberts is. I know you know she's a bit of a star, but were you old enough ever to appreciate like her in her like her zenith, like late 90s to, you know, aughts? Were you able to fully appreciate how much a star she was in her day?
Probably not fully appreciate it. Was it Ocean's 12?
12, yeah.
Yeah, that's probably the first time like it's like, oh, that's Julia Roberts. So that's probably the first one where I appreciate it because yeah,
Look at that.
a touch before my time. Oh yeah, she
Look,
just
I
like
mean,
the.
I can't with her. I mean, yeah, she's pretty and all sorts of, but she's incredibly charming and charismatic. And she always, I mean, she has these lines which in the mouths of like lesser actors, whatever, they'd be okay. But she always puts like a little slight, I mean, it's very kind of subtle spin or subversive kind of snark or just kind of personality to it, which really makes her the star that she is. I mean, it's probably one of her lesser heralded qualities. Everyone talks about like the smile and like, you know, she's fairly tall and she's got like kind of, you know, this kind of hotter next door girl demeanor, whatever, but she's just like extremely good at what she does. She's very charismatic and she's very likable, even when she's being a bit of a shit. She plays a bit of a diva movie star in this. And if you haven't seen this or haven't seen it recently, it's worth a rewatch. It definitely holds up. Definitely holds up. This movie is kind of what put Reese Ifans on the map. if he ever was on the map. I mean, he kind of gets
I mean,
parts these days.
I'll always he's in the replacements with Keanu Reeves, right?
Oh
He's
God,
the
yeah,
kicker.
yeah.
That's
might have
always what I'll think of him from.
Actually, that might have been the year before this. So maybe I don't know. He was a bit of a lesser known commodity in the '90s. Yeah, it's just a really satisfying movie, and her face is just so expressive. Love Julia Roberts. I mean, she's like, married, got kids now, and is down her New Mexico ranch, whatever. But I really wish she would act more. She's so talented, so talented. Hugh Grant also. I mean, this actually ostensibly is his.
Yeah, I was gonna say this was about the peak of his Hugh Grantness, wasn't it?
Pretty much. I mean, he's had an interesting he's had an interesting, not quite middle age, not older. I mean, he's like 60 now, right? I mean, but he's had an interesting aging into, more quirky, older parts. I really enjoyed him in The Gentleman. Did you see The Gentleman in theaters when it came out?
Oh yeah, I forgot he was in that. Yeah,
Like,
I actually liked that movie more than I.
Right, man. Yeah. Ringballs, play Gammy, Ringballs. Yeah.
That was a movie that was better than I thought it was going to be. The Gentleman. I remember seeing that preview and I was just like, and then I watched it.
I mean, a lot of people have thoughts on Guy Ritchie, not liking him. I like him fine. I mean, he's not. I'm not going to want him to do well, he's done historical fiction now. I think about it, but I'm not going to want him to do, like Beloved or something. But he's fine. He's fine. He's good at what he does. All right, so that is so everyone go watch Notting Hill and tweet me your tweet length review at Play CinemaDraft on Twitter, and we'll interact. Maybe we'll retweet a few of your reviews. Since you are in the podcast with no segues, it is time for our DraftStream update. Last week, we had a little bit of jockeying from some known quantities. I'm talking about Gamble 24x7 and Jaybird, the two top money winners in the DraftStream game. This week, G24, the homie, took first and second by the slimmest of margins. Got there by 0.27 points. He had, on taking second place, the box Jaybird out. Jaybird did not go home empty-handed. He did win the $10 low ball bonus. So no money's rolling over next week for me. I was a distant fifth. Kind of sucked. But yes, Jaybird's back in mid-season form. He took a couple weeks off, let us breathe. Now he's back in dominating fashion. Things cashed in 4 or 5 straight weeks. G24 is in fine form as well. He won on a truly rare diversified call sheet. 6 titles, no less. 6 titles employed in our 10-slot actor call sheet. The old 811 headliner co-star day player carried the day. And as you can see from the scores from last week, it was a bit of a stars and scrubs week. 3 stars over 100, a 91 with Work It, and a 93 at corner, and the rest were in the low 80s to the 70s. Not a great week, and also came below average. This week, we have all got our work cut out for us. 20 titles. We're going big. We're supersizing it. Not only was it an interesting week with a lot of interesting titles to play with, but also I'm trying to ease you all into the new normal. We will most likely have 20 to 25 titles a week once we are all coded up and on the web app. And I know you guys are just as impatient as I am to click buttons instead of copy paste spreadsheets. Lord knows I am too, but I'm telling you, I promise you, it is worth the wait. Paula Kathuria, aka PK in the game, who hopefully will be playing with us this week. She's doing excellent work over there in Delhi, so we'll let her cook. In the meantime, we have got some titles to sift through. We've got the 17th, 18th season of Hard Knocks LA. We've got the 4th season of 3%, the Brazilian, I think, kind of sci-fi futuristic film. Boys State, which is interesting.
I've been seeing previews for that.
Yeah, and I mean, 1,000 17-year-old boys from Texas joined together to build a representative government from the ground up. That's going to be a hot mess. So I'm here for that. And Lovecraft Country, which is getting stellar reviews and coincidentally is also our most expensive salary on the slate.
Yeah, is that what? That's Sunday night, right?
Sunday
16th?
night, HBO, baby. Prestige TV. Peak TV is back. J.J. Abrams behind it, who also did Watchmen. What have you heard about Lovecraft Country?
I know my one buddy, he sent the review to it. It's kind of like a couple dealing with racism and like aliens at the same time, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah. I haven't read the book, but I think so.
I know I actually have. Yeah, so I've been seeing the previews for this too, and when I get home from work Sunday night, I'm probably going to fire up HBO and check out this first episode. I mean, Jordan Peele's got his name attached to it, so at the very least, it's going to be well thought of and put together. So I'm definitely going to make sure I watch this.
And it'll be interesting to see how much in play this title is going to be, because 20,000 is towards the higher end of our salaries, like in the history of the DraftStream game. And with 19 other titles on the slate, makes you wonder: do you even need Lovecraft Country? Can you make a difference somewhere else? I don't know. It's gonna be interesting.
That's always my worry whenever I go something really much higher than 15, especially when we have a bunch of titles, since scoring upside's technically capped at what, about 130 points.
Yeah. I think the highest we've had scoring this for a basic total score is still the last dance at 124.15. Has not been.
What did Beyonce score the other week?
Oh, so you didn't hear my rants on Black is King, did you? Yeah.
No, I missed that.
There are a bunch of you know what? I'm not going to derail us. I swear I'm not, listeners and viewers. But Black is King still infuriates me. With the IMDb rating is what let us all down. Everyone else was glowing, but the IMDb 5.5. That's some fuck shit. I don't care what anybody says. That's ridiculous. And
that feels like some sabotage. Just people rating it poorly. Yeah, look at all those 1 stars. Like,
yeah, and then when you rate by demographic, it's the men. The men suck. Men 30 and over are just awful people. Or at least have no taste. And then I'll say from this sampling, it's just no taste. Then you go to the user reviews, and it's all racism. It's so bad.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, this just felt like, you see scores like that, and you see it just seems like people wanted to sabotage it for what it was, or not for what it was. People just wanted to sabotage it just because Beyonce's black and not necessarily give it a chance. That I did play that week, but I think that was another one where I almost forgot, so I threw something together real quick. And I'm always worried when it comes to something, and that's not even divisive, but something like Boys State this week. It feels like something where people might just go on there and sabotage it just based off their political views. So it's something I think about when I think it might be somewhat divisive, that I get worried that people are just going to go on there and intentionally take it just because there's terrible people out there who don't like.
And that's smart, and that's smart to think of the meta narrative too, because I mean, when in a game like ours where so much is weighted on the user score, the Google user score and the IMDb user score, we have to take that into consideration. We do not want to end up with another Black is King situation. So that's actually a wise, something wise to keep in mind. Even though I set these damn prices, I myself may fade Lovecraft Country because I'm concerned about that too. But people may see this as like the spiritual successor to Watchmen because J.J. Abrams is attached to it, because there are heavy-duty racial themes addressed in it, whatever. And although critically acclaimed, who knows what the country's feeling right now. I mean, big ups to us. Biden nominated Kamala Harris, first African American female and Indian American female to be nominated as vice president candidate, whatever. But I mean, who knows where the country's going to be at, this weekend. So I don't know. I might fade it for that. I might fade it because there might be some better value elsewhere. I kind of I think in the preview this week, I think I talked about one I messed up in the beginning. Yeah, Ted Lasso. I think I might have messed up in pricing because it is Apple TV.
I think I'm gonna check this out. I like Jason Sudeikis, and
I did too.
I've been seeing the previews for it, and I'm not a big soccer fan, but I think that almost is going to play more into the fact to it, since it seems like his character knows really nothing about it, and he goes over to England to be the manager of a squad. I mean, also anybody that can just rock a mustache like that. We go back to Borat from earlier. I love someone with the confidence to just rock an awesome mustache. So I'm gonna check this out, and I'm sure I feel pretty confident that I'll enjoy at least the first episode.
Yeah, and I mean, I get Apple TV Plus doesn't have like a big track record with comedy, and they did Trying, which was excellent. Have you seen Trying? Oh my god, that was so good.
Oh no, I haven't got to that yet.
So I mean, there's another Esther, which I'm totally in love with, Esther Smith. It's British comedy about this couple of non-married, a couple who aren't married, but they're trying to have a kid in like modern day London, and and then they see that they can't, so they're trying to adopt, and that's really, I mean, it's so heartwarming. It's good. I think it's been renewed for a second season. And so that's the only other real comedy I'm kind of aware of from Apple TV Plus. So I honestly probably should have priced this up, but because it seemed like a one-note joke, I kind of priced it down. But this could be some hidden value here because Apple TV Plus, they don't miss. I mean, their stuff is usually pretty solid. If you check out the master score list.
This is actually reminding me that I've got about 5 episodes of Central Park I need to catch up on.
Ah, yeah, good point. Yeah, Apple TV Plus. I mean, look at all those hundreds, man. I mean, you do a quick average. You guys can even do this at home too when you check out the master score list. 92.35. That's ridiculous quality on average. When your lowest rated is like 68.7, which is just under default score, and that's only because no one covered it. I mean,
yeah,
you're right. Yeah, Apple TV Plus stands quality. So that might be some source of hidden value. What else do you see in this week's talent pool, if anything? What's caught your eye?
I mean, Hard Knocks. It's people are starved for football, and I mean, at the very least, we know we don't have to worry about any default scores from Hard Knocks. It's going to get plenty of reviews. Now, this might also be another one. You got sports fans and their tribalism. I mean, with the Rams and the Chargers, they're like, well, fuck these guys. Why wasn't my team picked? They could tank it like that. But I was looking through earlier to just get familiar with some of the titles, and it seems like most of these seasons come clocked in around that 8.5 number. So it feels like it's going to get a pretty strong score. And it seems like it's pretty reasonably priced. It might be the reason where fading, Lovecraft Country works out well, because you can get this for about half the price.
Good point. And also I believe it debuts tonight, and I'm still a little leery about rostering Tuesday night or Tuesday shows on the platform, but it went okay last week, so I'm not, so I'm trying out again, and it's Hard Knocks. It's going to be in the conversation, especially with all the COVID-19 stuff around football. And so you're going to have a ton of information by the time Thursday afternoon, evening rolls around, and it's time to submit a call sheet. So it's not up right yet, but I'm pretty sure they're going to have up, the season-specific episodes, whatever, and we'll see how it performs. I know when I get done with this podcast and I have to, edit it a little bit and do some other, CinemaDraft business, I'm going to have it on the third monitor. I'm going to be watching it, You know, so yeah, bring it on, Hard Knocks. And I thought it was kind of fun to try to guess who are going to be the personalities this year, because obviously they don't have like a cast list per se, but the actors for this show, obviously Liev Schreiber, hopefully he's returning as the voice. He's been rocking that for a good, 6 or 7 years now. Sean McVay obviously is like the media darling, so he's going to be the headliner. And after that, I just kind of picked the kind of most spoken people from both those squads.
If I had to guess who's going to be the personality, it's a safe bet that Jalen Ramsey's going to be high on that.
I knew you were going to say it. Yep, I knew you were going to say that. Yep, he's a mouth. He got a mouth on him. Yeah, so that should be fun. Chris Harris Jr. also kind of chatty, so we'll see if they actually turn into actual characters or just in the background.
I don't know if Joey Bosa is outspoken as his little brother, but if he is, he's going to. Let's put it this way: if he's as outspoken as Nick Bosa, he's probably already trending on Twitter right now.
I know, right? While we're recording, yes, we're recording this Tuesday night, about 8-9. Well, now it's 9 something Pacific time. Hard Knocks has debuted. By the time we're done with this podcast shortly, I'll let you get some rest. I'm sure we will, have plenty of fodder to interact with from the Hard Knocks camp. So everybody who's playing the game, there is a link in the podcast description to this week's DraftStream alpha test. We are, like I said, mere weeks away from the web app being up and running, so bear with us. Come play a game with us. We're giving away a $50 prize pool plus a $10 lowball bonus for the lowest score that meets the criteria of minimum $75,000 budget spend, at least one actor from 3 different titles used, plus the other requirements for a legitimate call sheet. Come play with us. Email me your call sheets at cinemadraft@gmail.com. Get in here, get this free money. Some of y'all out of work, come get this free money, damn it. Plus a $25 bonus should your call sheet match either the perfect call sheet on the high end or the perfect lowball call sheet on the low end. So come get this free money, everybody. 3 entries max per player. Come play with us. All right. So like I said, it is getting late where you're at out there in the loop. So appreciate you hanging out with us again, Nick, lending your expertise. We'll bring you back on as much as you're available when we get the new site up and running and review strategies of the sort once again. This is normally the time I tell you to go ahead and plug your ish. What do you have to plug, Nick?
Well, like I mentioned earlier, we're gonna be working on our teen bracket for movies. We're down to the final 4 for our sports movies, and then I guess the last time I was on here, we did Disney animated movies where Toy Story ended up winning. So just we'll be on the lookout for that. Other than that, I don't have much to plug.
Oh, what's the final 4 here that I see on the?
So we did sports movies for this one, and we didn't get as big of a turnout as we did for the Disney movies. Okay. And most of as being a hockey player, we had hockey movies make it a lot further because, well, that's most of my friends.
The Sandlot's boat racing Happy Gilmore. Oh no, it's all Happy Gilmore all day.
We had only one 1 seed made it to the final 4, and it was Major League.
Oh, that's tough. Oh, I mean, man, this is Sophie's choice right here. Major League or Miracle. I mean, I owned both. Both give me joy in 2 totally separate ways. You know what? Damn it, I'm going with the chicken heads. I'm going. Don't touch my bat. Don't touch my bat. But that's tough though. I owned Miracle. I went into seeing that movie at the theater, not expecting much out of it. I knew the story of Miracle on Ice, whatever. But I had no idea how the grit, the hard work. Again. I mean, all that stuff. Just that's wow. Yeah, I'm mad I missed it. Next time you have one of these polls, please either tweet at us or tag us in one of these, and we'll try to get the word out too. I mean, we don't have the biggest amount of followers either, but I'd love to cast my vote at Play CinemaDraft on Twitter. Definitely check out We'll definitely have to check out your poll next time you have it. And check out our boy Ringballs at Ringballs22 to interact with his latest polls. Good stuff. Thanks for coming by and giving us your expertise in the game. Giving us your expertise on the Midwest movies. I feel like I learned something. Son-in-Law. I've got some work to do.
Yeah. Tuck Nasty really wanted that to be on the list, so I let him come on and speak a little bit about it.
All right. Well, he's getting my 30 minutes, damn it. And I will play us out. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Come play with us at CinemaDraft. We'd love to have you. We'll see you all again next time.